Hi there, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our Joy 99.7 FM studios, Kukumlimlin, Accra, at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Telisol 4G, just a touch. And coming up, lawyer for Joy News' investigative journalist describes government's complaint before the National Media Commission against the documentary Militia in the Heart of the Nation as baseless and waste of time.
Utterly baseless. Fact is that what he did on the basis of evidence. He gathered facts. He didn't manufacture any facts, provable facts.
Meanwhile, editor-in-chief of the New Crusading Guide newspaper describes government's boycott of Joy FM and the Joy News channel as cowardice. Also in this package, despite efforts by the police to control rates of kidnapping in the country, there appears to be an upsurge as new cases are being recorded. The latest, a 7-year-old girl in Kintampo. Meanwhile, former CID boss criticizes his successor for announcing she knew the whereabouts of the 3 kidnapped Takoradi girls who have still not been found. We'll hear from him as he justifies his assertion it's not yet time for a woman to be IGP. And many children still being used as child slaves on the Volta Lake for fishing. We'll hear from a former child slave who says he nearly committed suicide after seeing one of his colleagues drowning.
The lake, you have to work hard.
You witnessed somebody die?
Yeah, my friend. After that, I'm always scared. But your master asks you to go. You have to go. Even I try to kill myself sometimes.
We've got details.
And in sports, the ministry says it will intercede in the impasse between the Normalization Committee and the Referees Association of Ghana after officials decided to suspend their services in the ongoing special competition.
And as we gear up to Mother's Day, we find out from you, what is that one advice your mother gave that has helped you in life?
One thing that my mother told me, when I hear that people are shouting and people are rushing to one place, I shouldn't go.
My mom gave me, make sure I will not quarrel with my wife.
When I was coming from my hometown, my mother gave me advice. I should be careful about bad friends.
More on that, plus details of the Joy FM Mother's Day lunch at the plush Labadi Beach Hotel. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm Bernice Abubedu Lansa. The details now. Lawyer for Joy News' investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri Awuni has described as utterly baseless government's complaint to the National Media Commission against Joy News' documentary Militia in the Heart of the Nation. The government filed the case through Information Minister Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, claiming the documentary, which showed a militia group affiliated to the NPP training at the former seat of government, the Christian Castle here in Accra, is misleading and calculated at causing panic. Samson Ladia Yenene gave the status of the case before the Media Commission in the following interview on the Super Morning Show.
One of the things we take from the video or the documentary is also help keep an eye on the activities of all groups nationwide. As you know, the objective may be noble, is to just gather people.
Apologies for that. We'll try and get you that sound. But the next hearing of the case at the Media Commission is tomorrow, Wednesday, May 8. The government is represented by the state's Deputy Attorney General, Godfred Dame, and Information Minister, Kojo Oppong Nkrumah. Meanwhile, while government is fighting the case against Joy News and Manasseh at the National Media Commission, its ministers and other operatives say they've been asked not to grant interviews on Joy FM and Joy News programs. Editor-in-chief of the New Crusading Guide newspaper, Abdul Malik Kwekubaku Jr., has described government's Joy FM and Joy News boycott as cowardice. But listen to lawyer for Joy News' investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri Awuni, given the status of the case before the Media Commission in the following interview on the Super Morning Show.
Upon his instructions and consultations with him and together with the multimedia group, he has put together a very formidable response to the complaint that was made by government to the NMC. He has an 18-page response. And I will say that it is not mere words on paper, but It is something that, without too much consideration, will clearly show that what is before the NMC is very useless, utterly baseless. Fact is that what he did on the basis of evidence. He gathered facts. He didn't manufacture any facts. He gathered facts, provable facts, verifiable facts. And if you think that his interpretation of the facts, you have an issue with that, that is not the basis for you to waste anybody's time at the NMC. Unfortunately, that is what is going on by a government that has enjoyed the credit of pursuing and being at the forefront of press freedom.
You heard there Samson Ladi Ayenene. He is lawyer for Joy News' investigative journalist Manasseh Azure Awuni. The case will be heard next tomorrow. But let's bring you that reaction from the editor-in-chief of the New Crusading Guide newspaper. Now, he describes government's boycott of Joy FM and the Joy News channel as cowardice.
Last week I wanted to speak on this. Is there an official government boycott of Newsfile or of the multimedia? Is there?
There seems to be something like that, even though they don't seem to be properly coordinated. But they try, producers tell you, we contact this person, and they tell you that we are told not to speak until maybe we get an apology, as if it's forced.
I pray it's not official, because otherwise it's cowardly and unstrategic. And I didn't expect that to come from the MPP.
It won't be the first time a government is boycotting the multimedia group.
Exactly. You read my mind. I said I didn't expect that from them. We've had a situation where governments and parties have boycotted this station before. But I didn't expect it to come from the MPP.
Well, for the NDC, they were bold enough to announce it publicly. The MPP doesn't seem to be bold enough to say so.
That's a courageous one. But that's why I said this is cowardly and unstrategic. And if there's any such policy, I'm appealing to government and the party to review it as soon as possible.
And it is not in the known character of this government.
Exactly.
No. So
we should also pay attention.
Let's say it's cowardly.
You have the Abdul Malik Kwekubaka Jr., host of Newsfile, lawyer Samson Ladi Ayenene, and Vice President of Imani Africa, Kofi Bento. Now, at a time when the Ghana Police Service is under pressure to find the 3 missing Takoradi girls who have, been gone for over 200 days, there appears to be an upsurge in the past few weeks as new cases of abductions and kidnappings are being recorded. The latest is a 7-year-old girl, Jacqueline Intriwa, also known as Mamea, who was last seen on April 7 in Kintampo after an elderly woman allegedly lured her with toffees. Her mother, Mavis JC, says the kidnappers have on several occasions demanded ransom. Now, we'll bring you more on this particular development, but the former Director General of the Police CID, COP Bright Odro, has been critiquing his successor, COP Mami Tiwa Adodankwa. Now, despite describing her as a hard worker who's doing her best, COP retired George Odro said that being at the top is a challenge for Madame Tiwa. Commenting on her handling of the case of the kidnapped Takoradi girls, he said he would not have announced he knew where the girls were. He spoke to Kojo Yangson on the AM show on the Joy News channel.
It's unfortunate that she has come, and these things have come up, and it appears the police are having a lot of problem dealing with the crime situation.
But the test of her job would be how she handles these pressures that she has come to meet. Yeah. So let me ask you, would you have announced that you know where the girls are?
I think I've said this somewhere else, that maybe I wouldn't, you know something, I'm sure she knew where the jurisdiction that these girls have been sent to. Probably the girls are not in Ghana. And then the information that she has is that these girls are not in Ghana, and they are maybe in Nigeria or Togo or Benin or elsewhere. And then she wanted to put that out. Maybe it's the communication aspect. She wanted to tell the world that they knew where these girls are. If the girls are in Nigeria and she says, we knew where these girls are, I don't think she is far from
so your thinking is that she was saying she knows which country The girls are...
That is what I'm inclined to believe. Right. Not that she actually knows the pinpoint location of the girls.
But what's the benefit of announcing that you know which country they are in, if you are right? If
she wanted to reassure the family, she wanted to reassure the public that, oh, these girls are here, they are not in the country, but they are in this country, and we are working with our partner agencies in that country to locate and bring them back to their families. So probably that was what she meant. But
would you have announced it?
I had said somewhere that I would have said probably we had leads that we are following, and we will sooner or later come out and see something positive.
The former Director General of the Police CID also defended his claim that a woman will not be a good choice for IGP now. He insists the pressure that comes with a top police job would be unbearable for a female.
It may not be that men are better on the job than women, but the position of the IGP and the pressures that go along with that position, whether a woman will be able to contain the pressure. There are women who will.
There are women who will argue that they handle more pressure generally in life than men
in the domestic setup. They handle
what in life?
Life, well. Yes, that is true.
That was former Director General of the Police CID, COP retired Bright Odro, speaking to my colleague Kudra Youngson earlier on the AM show. Now, many children are still being used as child slaves on the Volta Lake for fishing, despite a clampdown on the practice. In the following report, Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba speaks to some of those children who say they are forced to go and work on the lake even though they've seen their colleagues drown. Most of them, who were originally from different parts of the country, were compelled to work in slave-like conditions in the Afram Plains fishing community known as Edzraputa. Maxwell Agbagba has more, as some of these children were rescued.
The rescued children, who range between the ages of 5 to 13, huddled together and moved into a room, the starting point of rehabilitation and restoration for their lost childhood. Here, they are enjoying rice with chicken. I've met one of them I choose to call Kwame. He says he lived on the same compound with one of the boys who drowned on the lake. He has not set eyes on his parents since he was taken to the fishing community many years ago.
On
that day, we did not go with them. One of the children was screaming. He had entered the lake to remove the nets. The man he went with left him. He drowned. I lived in the same house with the boy who died. I told him I was scared, but he allayed our fears. He said nothing will happen to us. We cast the net, we paddled the canoe. He usually beats us on the lake with a rope just to get us to work faster. He does not allow us to go out to play, not even football, with our friends.
For another boy I choose to call Kojo, he says he was taken to the fishing community after the death of his father. He was taken away by a man his mother introduced to him as a stepbrother. He first met him the day he came to take him to Edzraputa.
I had never met him before, but on the day he came, my mother told me we have one mother but different fathers.
When Joy News contacted the director of the Anti-Human Trafficking Unit at the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection, she said the Eastern Region Police did the rescue and are in the position to speak to it. Public Relations Officer of the Eastern Regional Police, Francis Gumado, says police would make sure fishermen who use children in fishing on the Volta Lake are made to face the full rigors of the law.
Let me reiterate the commitment of the Eastern Regional Police Command to deal ruthlessly with boat masters who use children for fishing on the Volta Lake. So 8 of them were put before Koforidua Circuit Court B. They were remanded into police custody to reappear on the 8th of May.
For these rescued children, life has just started as they are assured of balanced meal, proper health care and education. Government continues to put in efforts to clamp down on the menace of child trafficking and the use of children for fishing on Lake Volta. But it appears more needs to be done to save the situation.
Maxwell Agbagba with that report. Well, a former child slave, Godson Glawu, who is now an electrician and owns a shop, has been sharing his story. He says he nearly committed suicide after seeing one of his colleagues drowning.
The first time I was 7 years, the vacation time, when the mic come, say, want to take me through the vacation, I'll be back. The place called Madagascar.
Madagascar?
Yeah, in a farm place. My father told me that I will be back soon after the vacation. But when I went, I couldn't come back. I just wasn't going to fishing every day. You wake up at 4 a.m. and go to fish and I come back 6 p.m. But I reached a time my master started beating me because the leg, you have to work hard. I'm not old enough to do that job.
You witnessed somebody die?
Yeah, my friend. We went to the lake. Died there, there's strong will.
He died because the nets got tangled and he was asked to get into the water.
Yeah.
And he didn't come out?
Yeah. 3 days before they found the body. After that, I'm always scared. But your master asks you to go. You have to go.
Did you ever think that you go back to your father in Qatar?
Yeah. But about that age, I don't know the way to pass.
So you wanted to run away if you could?
Yeah.
Did you make an attempt?
Yeah. Even I try to kill myself sometimes.
A former child slave, Godson Glawu, speaking to Mama Vio Wusu Abuaje there on the AM show. Now let's return to our earlier story on government's case against the multimedia group and Manasseh Azuri Awuni over our publication of the documentary detailing the presence of a militia group operating at the Christian Castle. Following the broadcast of the documentary Militia in the Heart of the Nation, there were many threats on the life of Manasseh Azuri Awuni. His lawyer, Samson Ladi Ayenene, who we heard earlier, has clarified these reports and how the National Security Minister, Kandapaa, assisted the journalist with security.
Coincidentally, I was moderating that event by the Media Foundation for West Africa and the GJA, the Editors Forum, at the British Council when Professor Kwame Kakari did the revelation, and I was really stunned. It's stunned in the sense that somehow I didn't expect that it would become public. I thought that, particularly the National Security Minister had a firm control of issues, was fully in the loop, not just in the loop, but was very actively involved in ensuring that our brother's life and that of his family, are protected. But upon second thought and some advice by experts, I've come to realize that Professor Kakari didn't do anything wrong, as I may have thought initially by the disclosures. So yes, unfortunately, but this is true. Except that, like Prof did, I don't think it is wise, and upon good advice, security advice, I don't think we need to disclose so much, except to say that, in fact, and indeed, there have been attempts on his life, and we don't limit it to him only, but potentially on his family.
You heard there Samson Ladi Ayenene, his lawyer for Joy News' investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri Awuni. He was just clarifying the role of the National Security Minister Alex Kandapaa in providing security for the journalist when his life was threatened. You're listening to the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Benes Abubeidu Lansa. Coming up, well, as we gear up to Mother's Day, we find out from you, what is that one advice your mother gave that has helped you in life?
One thing that my mother told me, when I hear that people are shouting and people are rushing to one place, I shouldn't go.
My mom gave me, make sure I will not quarrel with my wife.
When I was coming from my hometown, my mother gave me advice. I should be careful about bad friends.
More on that plus details of the Joy FM Mother's Day lunch at the plush Labadi Beach Hotel. Do stay.
The new Ghana card is more than just a way to identify yourself. It opens you up to a world of benefits.
The sooner you register for your Ghana card, the closer you are to accessing a new world of secure transactions and services. The requirements to register are as follows:
a genuine birth certificate or a valid Ghanaian passport and personal information such as the name of your parents or legal guardians, residential address, and your digital address code.
If you don't have a birth certificate or a valid Ghanaian passport, don't worry. One relative or two members of the community who have been registered and have received their Ghana card can vouch for you under oath. You will, however, need your digital address code. You will not be allowed to register without it.
Any person who provides false information during this process is liable to prosecution, leading to the payment of a fine and/or serving a jail term.
Watch out for registration details to the media and the national identification team in your community. Make sure you register for your Ghana card.
Ghana card, connectivity, access, and progress.
Thanks for staying here on the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. It's now time for sports with Ridwan Asante.
Yes, and Bernice, now referees in Ghana have laid down their whistle and they will no longer officiate in the Normalization Committee special competition because they are owed, officiating fees by the Ghana Football Association. We understand that the Sports Ministry wants to intervene and then see if they can bail out the FA in paying outstanding, bills to the Referees Association of Ghana. But for the Referees Association of Ghana, they say they've heard what the ministry wants to do, but then they will only get back to work if their monies are paid. This is according to Thomas Atifu. He is the national instructor of the Referees Association of Ghana.
The question is, the association has no problem. If you are able to pay all the money, the games that have been played, from the ladies' side to the men's side, as at match day 9, they've paid all. Referees will go tomorrow, which never worked, where a lot of monies, people never received their monies in those days. Even the ladies who they said they should drop their bank account, some did, and some still claim that they have not received their money after they have finished their tournament already. So the question, it comes back to the question where you said, after dropping your match report, I will pay you. So what has happened? Have you not received the match reports of all the games you played on the ladies' side? So what is holding them back?
You heard Thomas Atifu. He is the national instructor of the Referees Association of Ghana.
Thank you very much, Ridwan Asante, there with sports. Let's head to the northern region now, where police have arrested a Chinese national, Helen Huan, with 2 containers loaded with timber. Hashmin Mohammed is our reporter on the ground. He joins us live. Hashmin, what are the details surrounding this arrest?
Well, according to the police, they have just finished briefing the media, and they say this Chinese national was arrested at the Im barrier checkpoint, and when she was arrested at first point, she resisted arrest, and they had to use force to arrest her back to the Northern Reserve Police headquarters, and they are still interrogating her, and details about where she was, where the timber was heading to, will be made public. But when we also tried talking to Helen Huan, she said at the various checkpoints in northern region, the police demanded money from her, and she refused. Even at the checkpoint, she refused, and that necessitated her arrest.
Thank you very much. Hashmin Mohammed is our reporter in the northern region. He'll stay on this beat and will furnish you with details in subsequent bulletins. Now, Deputy Minister of Health Alexander Aban says trials of the new malaria vaccine could suffer a setback due to spread of misinformation. He describes as fake news the viral campaign, he says, is only meant to thwart efforts to address the malaria menace. He spoke at the opening of the Hope Exchange Medical Center, a new women's cancer treatment center in Kumasi. Prince Apia has more in this report.
There have been several social media campaigns against the piloting of the new malaria vaccines already in the country.
yen takra no mum nan de broni ye bibia no de aba Africa o munye nom de awoye emnofo no ehu ye say ye threat so ti ase ye population a ye grow na ye threat mum o ma try asa o mo be depopulate ye enuane o mo de brain o mo de no gum a ye dia e affect ye Say we say yentimi north population control number one priority at the moment, especially Brigade.
Health Ministry, though, has debunked the allegations being peddled, are worried it could affect the patronage in the piloting stage. Alexander Aban is Deputy Health Minister.
Obviously, because it is being rolled out at first, it is even natural that people will say, oh, let's wait and see how effective it is, right? That is, a natural instinct. But it becomes even more heightened when people try to throw in the propaganda, the negative propaganda that, look, this is something that is harmful and it's going to affect the growth of your child and all that. Nobody would want to take their children through something like that. So once you condition their minds this way, they would be skeptical of it and they would not even avail themselves of any such treatment, even if they themselves have even caught malaria disease. So those who are churning out the fake news, we are only pleading with them to stop it. Because if they have any evidence to the contrary, they should show it.
He spoke at the launch of the Women's Cancer Center of the Hope Exchange Medical Center in Kumasi. The Hope Exchange Medical Center, which includes a clinical pathology laboratory and surgical suite, is a modern specialist hospital.
Prince Appear with that report. Now they strive to give us the best, regardless of the circumstances they may find themselves in. Mothers, the number one caregivers, ensure all those they cater for grow up to be the best of themselves. That's why they are selfless when it comes to giving advice. As we gear up for Mother's Day on Sunday, we've been asking some of you, what is that one advice your mother gave you that has helped you in life?
I was not that good in academics. She told me something which I most of the time remember, that it's not the end of my life, so I should back up. And it has pushed me to now. And I'm now come to complete.
One thing that my mother told me, and up to date, it rang in my mind, is I should focus on Jesus. So since then, Jesus is my all in all. And one thing too, he said, when I hear that people are shouting and people are rushing to one place, I shouldn't go. If I hear that people are saying, hey, and they are going there, no, I will stay where I am.
She told me to be mindful of friends. It has helped me throughout my life.
My mommy gave me is to care for myself. Especially, I should hold the work I'm working. Secondly, make sure I will not quarrel with my wife. So normally, I love my wife.
She told me to focus on my education. Through that, I'll be able to improve on my life. So I should forget about any negativity that will distract me from becoming a successful person in future.
When I was coming from my hometown, my mother gave me advice. I should be careful about bad friends.
I'm sure you're thinking, what's that one advice your mother gave you that has helped you in life? Well, you can do well to share it with another friend, even as we prepare to celebrate mothers on Sunday. But you heard there's some persons we spoke to about the advice their mother has given them that has helped them in life. Okay, so you know what? We here at Joy FM want you to treat your mother very specially this Sunday. And so we are organizing a lunch at the Plush Labadi Beach Hotel. And it's 450 cedis for a family of 2, 650, family of 3, 850, family of 4, 1,050 for a family of 5, and 1,250 for a family of 6. That's a cool deal, you know. And if you're single, well, you can come with, 250 cedis. You can get tickets here at Joy 99.7 FM. But it's now time to know what's trending, and Araba Kunsin joins me with that.
Yes, I don't usually come towards the end of the bulletin, but it's interesting. A lot of sports-related activities trending on social media. The first one is Liverpool. You know, I'm not a Liverpool fan, so I was wondering why. But apparently they're facing another team tonight.
Strong one,
Barcelona.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, and I guess people feel they won't win that much. And so, they're trending. People are really trolling them. Also, Paul Pogba is trending. And I'll read a few comments. At Ashaden on Twitter says, apparently, Pogba told Manchester United Football Club last season he wanted to go to Barca. Now he wants to go to Real. Woodward is reluctant to let him go because he holds a huge commercial value. Now, Ryan at Vintage United writes, I'd be gutted if Paul Pogba left Manchester United this summer, but I wouldn't blame him if he did. Hopefully, we use the money wisely like Liverpool when they sold Philippe Coutinho rather than what Spurs did when they sold Gareth Bale, but that will be very unlikely. And Pamshana Africa Transparency says the way Huawei P3 Pro is being hyped up makes us think it sends notifications like, hey, Pamshuna Africa Transport Combi, Popa precisely is on his way to town, driven by Ernest, will arrive to pick you up in 3 minutes 45 seconds. Get ready.
Sorry, Paul Pogba, but well, that's it for what's trending on social media. But you can call 0544336512, 0544336512 for the Mother's Day tickets and all inquiries you have about the program, or you can visit the Watch Shop around the UPSA or Joy FM to pick up tickets. And bless your mother this Sunday. It may not be your mother, but somebody who's played a motherly role in your life. And that's how we end this edition of the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm Benis Abubedulan. So we've got more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Do take care and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.